I just read part of a paper recently about sodium, and I think it disrupts the structure of the cells. It damages the cells, and that's one of the reasons it's toxic with, too much excess sodium. Our cells need more potassium inside than sodium. I think it's 3-to-1 ratio. Outside the cells, there's more sodium. So the cells there's like a pump in the membrane of the cell to pump out sodium and pump in potassium, and just flooding the body with excess potassium and keeping a super low sodium diet is supposed to help with that, restore the proper balance of sodium and potassium inside the cells.
Welcome everyone to Grand Rounds. But I have the pleasure and honor of introducing to you Beatty O'Brien, who is a cancer survivor and should be speaking to us about the work she does and her journey as well as a cancer survivor. She is an inspiring cancer survivor, speaker, and health advocate, and she's known for a remarkable journey of overcoming stage 4 melanoma. She was diagnosed at the age of 17. She initially underwent traditional treatments, which included surgeries and chemotherapy, which temporarily managed the disease. However, at the age of 20, the cancer returned aggressively, which it frequently does, and she was given just months to live. Determined to find an alternative path to healing, Beatty embarked on a holistic approach that combined dietary changes, lifestyle adjustments, and integrative therapies. She credits a combination of faith, perseverance, and support from loved ones for guiding her through her battle with cancer. Her approach involved adopting a plant-based diet, utilizing vitamin C infusions, and exploring spiritual practices that strengthen her resolve. Today, Beatty is cancer-free and dedicates her life to inspiring others. She speaks at events, shares her story through social media, and mentors individuals facing similar health challenges. Her story is a testament of resilience, hope, and power, pursuing a personalized approach to healing. Beatty's journey reminds us of the importance of advocating for our own health and maintaining faith in the face of adversity. I can't overemphasize that last statement. Welcome, Beatty.
Thank you so much. It's a privilege to be here with everyone. Thank you for joining. Thanks for coming on video. I love to see your faces. Well, I was 17, like Dr. Montgomery said, when I was first diagnosed with melanoma. It was stage 3. I was in my first semester of college. One of the biggest factors I think that contributed to my diagnosis was the amount of stress that I was under. I was on a partial athletic scholarship, and I didn't think I deserved it. I felt very out of place as an athlete and a student, and socially I didn't really have I was surrounded by people, teammates. I had about 50 of them, but I didn't really feel like I fit in with them or could really share the things that I was struggling with. So the way I dealt with my stress was turning to food, mostly for comfort. I tried talking to my mom, but I didn't really have a solid foundation to stand on or find confidence in. So it was at the end of the first semester, I found a mole on my right temple, and I had a biopsy not long after that, and went home for Christmas break and found that the biopsy had come back positive for what they believed to be melanoma. I had my first oncology appointment the day after Christmas, and they found out that the cancer had spread to a nearby lymph node in front of my ear. Then I had surgery to remove 45 lymph nodes from my neck. And fortunately, those were all negative, but my doctor wanted to be aggressive in the treatment. And so I had 1 month of treatment called interferon, which is like an immunotherapy type of medication. And then my doctor said that he didn't think the cancer would return. I was young and otherwise healthy and fit, athletic. So he just said I would get scans every 6 months or so, and return to college and then go on with my life. I would follow up with a dermatologist. But about 2 years later, my stress level had gone down after that, and I was doing better overall. I wasn't eating the way that I was. I had been dating someone, and I ended our relationship, and that was like extremely stressful for me. Melanoma can recur, or often recurs after 2 years anyway, but I also had that stressful event. I had a scan that showed an area of concern, and it turned out to be a recurrence behind my jaw. I had surgery to remove that. I actually ended up with 2 tumors in that area. And then I had 1 month of radiation treatments. And unfortunately, 2 weeks after I finished radiation, when I thought I was in the all clear, I felt a little lump under my chin. And that turned out to be more melanoma. And then I had another scan, which showed that there were up to 6 other cancerous spots in my body, in my neck and my lung and my spine. Did not really have much hope. I felt pretty discouraged that I had done everything my doctor said I should do. And I was still like, I had just finished treatment and it just got worse. So that doctor believed I had 7 months to live without treatment or 14 months to live with treatment. I got multiple other opinions. One doctor said 2 years if I did chemo and surgery and radiation, but that was like within the conventional medical system. But my mom had a friend who had been researching alternative medicine. She said, I believe 100% that Bailey, you're going to get well, and we just need to figure out what's going to work for you. And my mom was more optimistic than my doctors were as well. And she did a ton of research, she and her friend. Other people had encouraged me to trust God and to pray and ask God for healing. And I hadn't really been very spiritual up to that point, but I started to pray as often as I thought about it, maybe a couple times per day. And I said, God, if you're there, please give me a miracle, because I wanted to live. My mom and her friend had found people who had healed from terminal diseases, and my mom came across a couple of therapies that had really good, statistically successful treatments for melanoma. Mm-hmm. And one of them was nutrition-based, the Gerson therapy. There was a specific study from 1995 about 5-year survival rates in melanoma patients who did this therapy. And I was already studying nutrition, so it already made sense to me. And just to know that there were people who had healed from cancer using this, and I was young and, relatively fit. The diet therapy was a 39% 5-year survival rate, but there was an alternative medicine available that had a 60% 5-year survival rate. And the person that we talked to who had studied both of them, he was very optimistic for me. I was definitely more positive. I was certainly not denying the fact that my mortality was before me and it was very possible that I could die. But I was definitely way more hopeful at that point than I had ever been. And just the thought that I could essentially reverse it was very encouraging and empowering to me. And I was willing to do whatever I had to.
The alternative medicine component, was that something that included the plant-based diet plus other things like vitamin C, or what?
It was a mixed bacterial toxin injection called Coley's toxins. And so that was only available in Mexico. And that's why ultimately I decided to go there for 3 weeks and do that treatment, plus the intravenous vitamin C and amygdalin or Laetrile, and the diet therapy, which included a lot of vegetable juices and mostly plant-based diet. Actually, it was before I got to Mexico. I had measurable shrinkage of the cancer under my chin. I believe hope was really important in believing that I could get well and really having this strong desire to get well, embracing the support of people around me. I had my teammates, I had rivals on the swim and dive team in my conference. We had a major conference championship the first week that I got to Mexico. But there was a supplement as well that my mom's friend had found, had healed people with cancer, that I started taking right away. And actually, one of my oncologists had found that there was a B vitamin that had killed melanoma cells on contact in her lab. And I started taking that as well. So it was within a couple of weeks that there was measurable shrinkage, even though I wasn't sure if that was reliable, because somebody, they just took not a ruler, but, some kind of measuring tape and measured under my chin how large the lymph node was there. On the Gerson therapy, I woke up at 6 a.m. I got a liver shot intramuscularly in the muscle above my butt, and then followed by a coffee enema, which was to detoxify the liver. My doctor would come in, maybe a couple hours later, give me my treatment plan for the day. I'd get breakfast. They gave me a piece of maybe Ezekiel bread, oatmeal, some dry or stewed fruit, and orange juice. I don't know, an hour later, I would get another juice. And I had 13 juices throughout the day, every hour or so. I had 3 coffee enemas per day, I guess like around the time of each meal, whether it was before or after. And lunch and dinner consisted of Hippocrates soup and a baked potato, and then some cooked vegetables and a raw vegetable salad. There were 3 different juices. The first juice was just orange juice. And then throughout the day, I would have either carrot apple juice or a green juice, which had 7 ingredients: romaine, escarole, Swiss chard, green bell pepper, red cabbage, watercress, and Granny Smith apple.
So it seems like you got a lot of your vitamin C and A from juices. But
Yeah, sure.
Citrus and all that. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And by the time I left there, I could no longer feel the lump under my chin.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah. It was about maybe an inch or inch and a half, I think, when it started, when it was first measured before I got there.
Did you get any scans or imaging after you returned, after that 3 weeks?
After another 3 weeks, I did like almost everything at home except for the intravenous infusions. I had a scan, and my doctor, he didn't know what to say, but he essentially said that I was cancer-free and I should just keep doing what I was doing because it was working.
He didn't ask you what you were doing?
He did, and he didn't recommend that I go to Mexico in the first place. But once he saw my results, he was like, I'm not going to tell you to not do what you're doing. Well, I was very much into counseling people who had cancer for 6-7 years or so. But then toward the end of that, I lost a few friends, several people that I had worked with, and I had gotten closer with those people at that time. And so it was very difficult for me. And I guess you could say, distanced myself from that. So I'm not doing a lot of that at this time. Sometimes I'll speak with someone, but not really like an official consultation type thing as a coach, but more like an advocate. I try not to shy away from showing other people the way that I live and eat and my lifestyle, and that I do to prevent the cancer from coming back, and use that as a testimony to say, hey, like, I'm very serious about this. And I think we all ought to pay mind to the things that we eat and drink and do, because a lot of people are getting sick and there has to be reasons why.
This is fantastic. Look, thank you very much for sharing your wonderful story, and thank God for your story and for your courage and the things you do. And we wish you well in your future endeavors, and continue to encourage the world, because this is a story that needs to continue to get out. There are many people who need to hear from you, and so hopefully you'll continue as an advocate and speaker. And again, thank you for ingratiating our community tonight.
Thank you, Billy.
You. Oh gosh, thank you so much. It's such a privilege and joy to do this.
As usual, community, thank you guys for participating.
Thank you.
Thank you, Billy. Have a good night.